Hey guys, and welcome to the first ever episode of the CM20 Podcast, where we talk about absolutely anything relevant and irrelevant. This is going to be an ongoing podcast every Wednesday, talking to people about the different subjects that you choose and the most upcoming events and information, including everything on the CM20 YouTube channel. Today we're here with myself, Cameron, and co-star Reuben, so let's get started and get straight into the action.
Okay, so on today's episode, we'll be talking about Cameron's music. Talk about his two recent songs that he brought out, Judgment and Creation, two very good songs. Love it to myself, and I love them both. So yeah, I've got a few, I've got the lyrics on my phone here. I'm going to read through them, and is it okay if I ask you some questions?
Absolutely, fire away.
Alright, so first one is Judgment. First line says, all this feeling and emotion causing a commotion in the way getting played every day. So do you want to elaborate on that verse for us? Like how did you come up with it, and what exactly does it mean?
Yeah, thank you, Reuben. So basically, when I created the song, I thought I need to address something. So I thought, all the feelings and emotions that you feel are always in the way and causing something against you and causing there to be an obstacle, and it's playing you, and it's like every day, but you don't notice it because you get through it, but other times you do, but you never stop.
And as well, I think sometimes we think it's something else blocking us, if that makes sense, but it's not.
Yeah, completely get you.
It's our own emotion and our brain and what we're thinking to ourselves that we think that's causing us trouble. It's not necessarily, it can be, don't get me wrong, it can be stuff that is going on around us that can affect us, but sometimes I feel like it's our own mindset.
Yeah, I agree.
So like, you can have the wrong mindset for something, and be a bit, a bit pessimistic, and it does cause a commotion in your brain. You think you can't do it, and you end up playing yourself, really, because you doubt yourself and you blame other things and you blame this and you blame that, but really you just you got to get on with it and be positive and move on.
Yeah,
which I think that was a really great way of saying it in that verse. And I think in the second verse I'm just about to read out, I think this is an even better way. I think the way you phrase this is really, really good, and it makes it really, you can kind of relate to it in a way, because it's not as blunt. It's kind of just all like free flowing, which I think is really good. Okay, I'll read it out now. We've got to help ourselves, not drown ourselves. We've got to make ourselves, not drown ourselves. Don't blame to hate or hate to blame, because deep down we're all the same, just different names. And I think, what I think of that is, do you want me to tell you?
Yeah. Yeah, please do. Please do.
Is that alright?
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. So, I think it kind of carries on to what I was saying about the first verse, I don't know if it's right because you've wrote it, but this is my opinion on it. I think you're trying to say, like, instead of putting ourselves down, do you know what I mean? Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I'm not good at football.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make the team. You've got to be. I'm going to make the team. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to prove everyone wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Always believe.
We've got to have a positive mindset. We've got to believe in ourselves. And it says we've got to make ourselves, not drown ourselves. Would you like to elaborate on that line for us?
Yes.
From your own words.
Yeah, thank you, Reuben. So you got to make something yourself. You got to put in the effort and the hard work. Not put yourself down and give up. No matter what, you just got to try your best. Even if you fail like so many times, you just got to keep on going. Even if people put you down, give you hate, just ignore them. As long as you're a good person and don't respond to it, then you're fine and you're doing great. You're the better person. Just carry on strong.
Because I think that's very true what you're saying, actually. I think as well it says, don't blame to hate, hate to blame, because deep down we're all the same, just different names. I think that's a really powerful line. I think, I think personally it speaks to me like as in, don't blame someone just to put them down. Do you know what I mean? Don't
Yeah.
blame someone
That's exactly what it's saying. Yeah.
because you don't want to put yourself down, so you blame someone else.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What were you thinking when you wrote the second part? Hate to blame, because deep down we're all the same, just different names. Would you like to elaborate on that for us, the podcast, please?
Thank you, Reuben. Yes, what I was saying here was, you don't, like you said, don't put people, because you don't want to put yourself down. Don't give someone else your hate. But then, where it says, don't blame to hate, that bit there, or hate to blame, because deep down we're all the same, just different names. We're all the same, basically. We're all wanting to aim for something. We're all human. Yes, we look different, we do different things, this and that, but deep down we're the same, because we all feel emotions. Even though they're different, we still feel. And there's no point putting someone else down, because if someone puts you down, you wouldn't like it, and that's how we're all the same. I could be someone, and I could be put down, but just because you think you're bigger than someone else who's lower down than you put them down, and it keeps going down. There's no point leading that to like a domino effect, like you put someone down because someone's put you down.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very good point, actually, because I think we do that without realizing sometimes.
Yeah, that's very true.
We do something wrong and we're like, oh no, that wasn't me, that was something else, that was him, because say football terms, oh, you should have scored that. No, that wasn't me, that was because it was a bad pass, he hit the pass too hard. I mean, you're hating on someone else's skills when really they didn't do anything wrong, it was you. You just don't want to feel that hate yourself.
Yeah.
You don't want to blame yourself, because let's be honest, when you blame yourself, it doesn't feel great.
No.
That's normal. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to, deep down, you don't want to feel blamed and hate, but sometimes you just gotta take responsibility for what you do.
That's true.
And I think this next line, I think, is a very, very good line. I think a lot of people can learn from these. I think these next 5 lines, I think people can learn from these lines. I think they really can. We should respect what people say and not dictate, because we're all human and we all need people who won't judge us but will love us. So, do you want to elaborate on that for us? Because I think personally that's a very powerful line. We can all learn from that if we really, read it and take it in. I think everyone in this world can learn from that.
Yeah, thank you, Reuben. We should respect what people say and not dictate. So, say someone has a different opinion to you, you should respect it and not go against them just because they may be different in any way. Don't hate on them. And even if someone says something you don't like, say something against you, just don't dictate, don't take it in, just ignore it, just block it, don't say anything back, don't retaliate, just keep on going, because we're all human and we all need people who won't judge but love us. That carries on. We're all human, we're all the same, so don't send hate to someone because you've been hated on, because we're all the same, and whatever you feel, someone else is going to feel, and we need people who won't judge us. So someone, no matter what you say, who you are, what you do, they're still going to be there and they're going to love you, because we need people to care for us, because that makes you feel good and you need that happiness in your life.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, because no one likes hate. That's just normal. No one wants to be hated. No one wants to be judged. I think that's why sometimes people, they bully, and they bully other people because they're different, because they don't want to be judged themselves, so they're going to judge another person.
Yeah.
So they won't feel judged themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
But they think by judging other people and being, bigger than someone else means that more people love you, and look up to you more than the other person, because you seem bigger, you seem more popular. But I don't think that it shouldn't matter, really. I think we're all the same. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We all have different struggles, obviously, but that's just life. As in life, you know, you roll with the punches.
Yeah.
So you already elaborate on that by saying it means, I said, it means family.
Yeah.
To me. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Our family will never judge us.
Yeah.
But I'm very
people
blessed. I know
closest.
people have problems with their family and everything, and you know, again, you know, you do feel bad for these people, but I feel very blessed. You know, I am very blessed. You know, my parents, you know, they love me and they'll only help me if I'm going through something. They'll never judge me for it. They'll just help me. They'll help me become a better person, and they'll just do it by loving me.
That's true.
For me, that really just my favourite. I think that's probably one of the most powerful I feel.
Yeah, I agree. Highly agree there.
And you know, moving on to the next verse, it says, "Don't hate on others because you ain't brothers, or hurting them just because you don't know them." Now this, this it's happened quite a lot at school.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to elaborate on that, like what you mean by that, and then I'll say how it relates into school.
Yeah. So don't hate on brothers. Don't hate on others because you ain't brothers, or hurting them just because you don't know them. So what I'm trying to get at here is, just because you aren't friends, or because you're not, maybe not family, or you're not close to someone, doesn't mean you need to hurt them. Like, because you don't know them, don't hate on them or anything. You don't know their story. Their story may be different, and it may be they may be very sensitive with their story, and it may affect them. So that's where that comes in, and people don't realise sometimes that maybe someone's not had the best life, so maybe they're not going to always be what you expect. Now.
Yeah, okay, I think that's a really good point, Cameron, actually. You don't know what people are going through, you don't know their life story, you don't know why they may be in the position they are in. So I you know, you got to treat everyone, I believe, with kindness, because maybe they've been horrible, maybe I think everyone deserves kindness, but you say they don't deserve it because they've been, horrible to other people. But maybe, that's what some people need. They just need to be, cared for, and you can't. It's never nice to judge people, I think, no matter what your background is, where you come from, because people's lives are different for a reason, and I think that's what makes us as humans so unique. I think that we're all the same, but our personalities are so different.
Yeah.
I think that's what is, that's special about everyone, I think, is that we're all so different. It sounds cliche, but it is true. Like, we're all different, and, we all have different qualities and skills, but you see people working in jobs, and, like, for example, NASA, there's people with different skills and different abilities. They all work together, they do, you do great things, and it's just an example about how if we all, as a community, everyone just, if we just stop hating, and I know it's not that simple, but if that ever did happen, we just stopped hating each other, we just cared for each other, even if we weren't like brothers and friends, even if we were just nice to each other, we could just all be close, and we could all do great things.
Yeah.
And I think this next line really, elaborates on that very well, I think. Because we're all on this earth to live, not to hurt, but instead we got to be strong and stay alert. So would you like to elaborate on that for us and tell the podcast?
Yeah, thank you, Reuben. Yeah, because we're all on this earth and live not to hurt, but instead we're strong and stay alert. So we're all on the earth. We've got to live, not hurt. Literally, as it says, all on this earth to live, not to hurt. So we're here to live our lives, make something of ourselves. Even if your goals aren't as high as someone else's, or you don't want to be like the best out there, and you just want a simple life, that's fine. But there's no point hurting someone. Life is not to hurt. Like if you feel pain, you don't like that. And if you're giving that to someone else, why would you? If you don't like it yourself, why would you want someone else to feel that? Life is not about hurting people. It's about helping them and living life together. And it says, but instead we want to be strong and stay alert. So because people hurt, we have to stay strong and always be alert. Like if everyone was dealt, this is a very hard thing, but if everyone was nice, everyone was like helpful and everything, then you wouldn't have to be as strong, because there wouldn't be much to be sad about, this and that. Yes, if people maybe died, but then you'd have people around you to support you and you'd all be better together. But staying alert, you've got to like always be on the lookout for everything.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but is this what you're trying to get at? I think this is what what you're trying to say. Is what I've got from it. So we wouldn't have to be, so we've got to be strong. The key word is we've got to be strong and stay alert. But you're saying that is only because people hurt us in this earth?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with that, because it is true. Like it's just the sad reality we live in, but really we are blessed, but we just have to roll with these things. If we've got to be strong, we got to be strong. It's just life. We've got to stay alert. If we have to be alert, we have to be alert. Do you know what I mean? You just do it because it's life, and and like you said, maybe someone doesn't want to be the same as someone else, but you don't want to judge them, because like I said earlier in the podcast, we're all different. We don't how do I put it? We obviously don't want the same thing. Everyone, like someone might want £1 million, like £1 million mansion, swimming pool, fast cars. Some person might just want to live in a nice flat, just a nice little flat with a girlfriend and and a child, just a nice family with just food, dinner, a good job. Do you know what I mean? That's like, do you know what I mean? I think there's two. I mean, I'm not judging anyone for wanting more, because that's not their fault. We all want more. But I think there's two types of people. It sounds controversial, but this is my opinion, and I don't want to offend anyone out here. By the way, I'm not saying this to offend anyone, but I think there's two types of people. There's a content person. He's content with what they've got. He's blessed. And there's a person that wants more and more and more. And there's two different mindsets wanting more. There's a mindset you want to be as successful as you can be, because you want to push yourself to be the best you can be. And as our school says, be the best you can be the best version of yourselves.
Yeah.
But there's another person that just wants when they don't they don't necessarily want to work hard for it.
No, it's true.
But some people, it's not their fault. Like some people are just, they're blessed like that. They have, they're born into a family with, where their parents have done very well, and they have the privilege of having being able to get what they want. And some people don't. That's not their fault. I'm not calling them spoiled, and I don't think it's a bad thing, because they can't help that, and that's not. I think in a way it's good both ways.
Yeah.
If you're content, I think you can be good in the fact that you're always grateful for, you know, what you've got. And I'm not saying that people who have money aren't grateful for what they've got, because obviously you would be, you know, and it's just, but what I'm trying to get at is people who want more, you know, they're good in the fact that they're always thriving for more. Do you know what I mean? They've got that attitude where they won't give up until they get what they want.
Yeah.
Do you know, I think that's, in some circumstances, I think that's a really good attitude to have. But either way, I think, you know, everyone, I wouldn't say is perfect in their own way, but everyone, you know, is amazing in their own way with what they do. You know,
Yeah.
if you really look and analysed everyone on this earth, you know, it'd be impossible. But if you did, then I think you would see that everyone is amazing in their own way, which I think people need to understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to read this next verse. It's only a 2-line verse, but if you'd like to elaborate on this would be very much appreciated.
Yep.
As the people who hate, excuse my language here, as the people who hate don't give a crap, all they want is to set you a trap. I think I get what that means. Would you like to elaborate for, you know, all the viewers for us, and what you were thinking when you were writing that, and what was your intentions?
Yep. Thank you, Reuben. Yeah. So, as you can see there, I did use a bad word, which I try and stay away from in these because I want them to be as friendly as they can. But as the people who hate don't give a crap, all they want to do is set you trap. So as it's literally as it says, the people who hate you, literally, they don't care. To be fair, they care. They have their things that you care about, but they aren't caring about you in, like, to be fair, and they just want to set you a trap. They want to set you up to fail. Like, someone doesn't like you, if they see you succeed, they're gonna try and make your life hell. But then it's more, they're either jealous, they just don't like you, so they just want you to, like, fail. And it's just not how it's supposed to be.
No, I completely agree, but it is, again, you know, the world we live in. It's just how some people are, you know. But again, it all comes back to the fact what we were saying earlier in your song about, you know, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know why they may be treating someone like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it all. I think this is what's so good about this song, if you don't mind me saying, is that everything just seems to link to the point that, you know, you shouldn't judge people because you know, well, you don't know what they're going through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, it's the reality that people do that because it is natural instinct as us as humans. If we feel threatened in any way by, like, people, or they might steal my friend, or they might do that, you don't want them to do well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you don't want them to be better than you. But that's just, you know, that's not a bad thing in ways. In some situations, that could be a good thing. It could set you up to be a winner and to have a good mindset and have a fighting mindset. But in some ways, it's not good, I'd say, because, you know, it can be quite spiteful. Like, as in, you can end up being quite spiteful towards people when you don't mean to, but it just happens.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you
with
get
you.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally agree with you there.
Yeah, no, because it's just, I honestly, I think, I just want to say, this is massive credit to you, by the way, that this whole because it is quite powerful, especially when you just take it like bits apart and you read the verse and you properly listen to it. It is really relatable, I think, for everyone in some sort of way.
Yeah.
And I think if someone's got the time, please, you know, maybe you could, you know, do the rap for us at the end of the podcast. Maybe do both raps, and then, you know, people can just listen and, you know, take in the word.
Yeah, I can do
So I
that.
think that's what we're trying to do here today. We very much appreciate that. You know, if you, like, as in, people just reading through the words, I think that's what we're trying to do today, to get people to understand. Do you know what I mean? Make it so everyone, because everyone's different, everyone can understand in their own way. This is what I think we're trying to do. Would you agree, to help everyone understand?
Yeah, I'll agree. I'll help you understand, and because it is such a good thing to talk about. and elaborate on.
And I think it's not. You see people, oh, don't bully and everything. But sometimes it's just not meaningful. Do you know what I mean? I think we need podcasts like this to pick it apart and then say, this means this because of that,
Yeah.
and then this means that because of this. Because I just think people really need to hear that in my opinion. But I think you've done this brilliantly in this song. I must say again, it is really well done. But anyway, I'll do you want me to read the next verse out and then you can elaborate on this one as well?
Yep.
Okay, so it goes, and then you fall for that trap, staying hurt and possessed, just crying in that corner, all upset in a mess. Would you like to elaborate for all the viewers for us again, and tell us what exactly you mean by all that?
Yep. I'm gonna if that's okay, I'm gonna link that with the next one and include that in this, if that's okay. The next verse as well.
Yeah, do you want me to read that all out in one then?
Yes, please.
Do you want me to read both out in one? That'd be...
Yes, please.
Alright, okay, let's start from the beginning. And then you fall for that trap, staying hurt and possessed, just crying in that corner all upset in a mess. Nowhere to go, not one day or two, without the shame or blame that they do to you. So, that I think you're right in that does link very well, and in my head that links very well, but would you like to elaborate for the viewers on what you mean, to get a real understanding?
Yep, thank you, Reuben. Yeah, so the reason I said that is because after that it changes to a different subject. But on here it says, and then you fall for that trap. So if we go back to the other line, it says, they set you a trap. So because you're falling for it, because you get so put down, you end up just giving up. Say they want you to fail, you just end up being lured into what they want. And then staying hurt and possessed, you're hurt, and then you're just trapped. They've literally got you under their spell because they've taken all that you've got, and then they're basically in control of you. So that's why I've put possessed there. And then it says just crying in the corner, all upset in a mess. Some would, you could link that physically crying in the corner, but what I'm saying here is you're upset. You don't know what to do. You literally have yourself, and you literally just think of you're a ball. You literally don't know what to do. You literally have no sense of security because you're under control by someone else. Then it says you nowhere to go, not one day or two, without the shame or the blame that they do to you. So you literally have nowhere to go because you don't know. They've literally taken everything, and it's every day. Because of what they've done, you failed, and every day you've got to live with that. And then the shame or the blame that they do to you.
Oh, I know, I completely agree. Yeah.
The shame or the blame, they've literally filled you with shame and blame, and every day. So nowhere to go, not one day or two, without the shame or blame they do to you. You can't escape it. You literally cannot escape what they have done. It's always with you, and it just sticks to you, clinging to you like it's a part of you now, and grows on you.
I feel like that first bit. The first part of those two verses, where it says staying hurt and possessed. I think possessed is probably, it sounds dramatic, but I think it is the perfect way to put it, really.
Yeah.
Because you are, it feels like you're possessed. You feel like your mind, this thing in your mind is just taken over, and it's just, it's not a good feeling, and I see what you say, but it's not. It can sometimes be physically crying in that corner, all upset in a mess, but metaphor as well, in the corner of our mind, there's this thing in us, we want to stop it, but we can't because we're surrounded by all this, all the hurt and all the abuse and all, the verbal abuse we get, and people tell us we can't do that, and oh, you're bad at this, which I think it links back well as well. We need more confidence.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Because then everyone can be. Do you see what I'm?
Yeah, I completely get what you're saying. Yeah.
It's where it says nowhere to go, not one day or two, without the shame or blame to you. Like you were saying, I think one day, not one day or two. You're saying it's not one day is another day, every day, like as in on most days you list. It's like a permanent thing in your. So, agree
Yeah,
with that?
I agree. I agree with you there.
Yes. Do you There is a very important.
Go.
Okay, so sorry about that. We are back with a few more technical difficulties, but it is sorted again. So do you want to carry on? We'll redo the verse if you want to, and then you can elaborate on that again.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that is fine. So, they fill us with doubt and kill our success due to the pain that they have. So basically, they're filling you with doubt. They're filling you with everything that's not going to get you anywhere, because they're filling you with figuratively object, like something that's going to stop you. Because you're literally, everything you do, you're doubting yourself. Oh, will it be okay? Say this podcast, when we started this podcast, oh, what if this happens? It's like there's always something more to it that's stopping you, because they've given that to you after that, and they kill off your success. So they're taking away and killing that spirit inside you to do something, and then due to their pain that they have, because they're hurting somewhere, something that's happened to them is causing them to do it to you. Just like earlier in the podcast where we said, oh, if someone does something to you and you do something to someone that's lower than you, that it's just that train, that carry on domino effect. It just keeps going because they have pain. They're letting it out on you.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, as in, so like, say, let's do it like, so the popular person in school bullies the next popular person in school. Then the next popular person in school takes his pain out on the not so popular person in school.
Yeah.
And the not so popular person in school takes the person another person in school. So
it just keeps on going and going.
I think that's what you're getting at, isn't it? Like a
domino
domino effect. And really, the way we can only stop it is literally just being kind to each other. I cannot like stress that enough. Is that I know it sounds cliche and everything, but we do need to just show love to each other and like just be kind to each other, because you don't know what people are going through, and it is it just isn't nice for whoever you are and whatever you're going through. Either way, it isn't nice. But we can change that, and I think we will. I think we will change that. Just give it time, but obviously, it's gonna take time. But hopefully, it will work out, and then everyone will just, realise, especially in this lockdown, that we do need each other to be kind.
The best things take time.
Because we're struggling. People are struggling more than they did before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think it's important to take time as well in this, to make sure that people are actually doing it out of love and kindness, and not doing it just because someone said to do it.
Yeah. Go out of their way to do it, not because you're instructed to.
Yeah. Exactly, but we'll work towards that, as a community, and in this world, I'm sure everyone will realise that.
Yeah.
I hope we do, but it's just we'll have to deal with it now, and we can individually help others in our own way. If some people aren't being so kind to others, we, like me, you, and other people, we can show care to other people to let them know that there is something to care, and they're not all hated.
Yeah.
But then this next verse, then they're smaller than you, but bigger too. So what can I do except nothing? I think that's a really, really good verse. I don't think it sums up the whole thing, but I think it is I think like I was saying earlier, it does everything just kind of molds together. This whole thing, I think, when you take it apart, is really good. It just molds together into one big message.
Yeah.
But if you want to, obviously, like we're doing, would you like to elaborate on that verse for us? Tell her what you mean by, but when then they're smaller than you, but bigger too. So what can I do except nothing?
Yeah, thank you, Reuben. So basically what I'm saying is, if we go back to the other one, due to their pain that they have, because they have pain, they're smaller than you, not because of the pain, but they're smaller than you, but because of the hate and anger they're giving you, they're looking bigger. It's like a shadow. It's only what you see, and then what they actually are is smaller. That shadow, it's portrayed bigger but smaller. So they're smaller than you because they're hurt and they just don't know what to do. So they're taking it on you, but they're bigger because of how they're being shown, how they show themselves. And then I say, so what can I do except nothing? Because people fear that if they do something, then something else is going to happen, something worse, and that they can't do anything. So they're just again like possessed and trapped. But the most likely everyone's the same. It's just if you go, you have to dig deep down, because they're just covered and just sometimes in a mess. But not saying they're bad, like in a mess, this and that. They don't know what to do. They need some people to help them out. They want someone to care for them and love them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I think you've explained that really well. I think that you explained it so people can really understand that. I think I know I've said it so many times, probably fed up with me saying it, but it's really, really important that we do kind of the opposite of these things that they're saying in here. So we don't hate, and we don't pick on people just because they're smaller than us, that have less money than us, because they're not as fortunate as us. Do you know what I mean? We need. I think actually the people who are smaller need love more than we do.
Yeah.
Or say we do more than the people who are more privileged. The less privileged people need more love than the more privileged do, I feel.
Yeah.
To make them feel better, because they may realise that they're not as privileged, and it does have a mental effect on you sometimes when you see other people like, oh, I really wish I had that. Like some people in our school, they go get the latest iPhone and say, oh yeah, I just bought this the other day. I went on a massive shopping spree because I just had the money to do it. But so some people don't, and it is. It's not. I would say it's sad because I don't really know how to explain it, but yeah,
it's not needed.
Okay,
you can afford that, but you can tell me about it, but then it's just the fact that people don't realise.
I don't think you should gloat about it. I think you should be humble.
People don't realise that it puts other people down and it upsets them sometimes.
I know, but sometimes people do it by accident. They don't realise they're doing it. But I think the best. I think the best people are humble.
Yeah.
I know
what you mean there.
They have do you know what I mean? They have Anthony Joshua, for example, right? He acts cocky as a boxer, but when you hear him in his interviews, he's a multi-millionaire, but he's content with what he's got. He says, I'm blessed. I always have to go back to my heritage, where I come from, because I don't want to be sucked into this world where I'm this big superstar. Even though he is a big, superstar, he doesn't want to get sucked into that world of, so he still wants to be who he is. And I think people can get lost, especially celebrities. I feel like they can get lost in their money and their fame from who they originally were.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, so move on to the next line, moving on from that. That's the feeling of fear we all have, but the bigger people take advantage to get the upper hand. Now, this is, again, ties in with what we're saying. So would you like to elaborate on that for us and explain what you were feeling when you were writing this and why you wrote it and what you want people to take out of that verse.
Yep. Thank you again, Reuben. So what I was feeling when I was writing this, I was thinking, what I've just said, we can't. So what can I do except nothing? I wanted to explain that through the music itself, through the song, explain the next line, and I was just feeling that people need to know that why people do it, why people feel that they can't do anything, and that's why I said that's the feeling of fear we all have, because people fear, like I say here, the bigger people. They fear the bigger people, the people who take the advantage, and once they get that advantage over you, they've literally, unless you try and get that advantage back, but use it wisely, don't use it to make them feel lower and give them a disadvantage. But if you like just ignore it, then yeah. But people take it to get the control over you, like linking it back to the other 2 times we've said in the podcast, and to get the upper hand, they want to be higher than you, they want to be the best, but not as in the best. So like I run 100 meters and I win that best. They literally want to be known that they're the best person and that you are lower than them. They want to get the upper hand. Yeah, they want the power. They want to see themselves as, oh yeah, I own you, or like something higher than that.
I agree. Like, as in, you see, it is in this world when it comes to, people battling it's all about power. Like World War I, World War II, it was about power, and the more land you owned, the more power you had.
Yeah.
The wars now in Iraq and Afghanistan on. It's all about people because they want power. This comes back to the point I was saying at the beginning. Like some people aren't. It's not bad sometimes not to be content. You want to be the best you be, but this is the bad sort of side I was talking about. When you want to be powerful, and you want to put people down, and you want to get it absolutely whatever way you can. Yeah. I think in that respect, when we have that much power, and as you had basically, you were pretty much the head of the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
So why? Do you know what I mean? That's what I think. That's why it comes in with greed as well. I think people get greedy. There's a limit, I feel, to how much you can want for being greedy.
Yeah.
Because I think that 10, I feel.
Yeah, I agree.
That's when you need to be content with what you have, and you got to, let's say, compare yourselves to other people, but
no,
I don't know how to explain it because I don't want it to sound horrible. But you got to other people. We are blessed. Do you know what I mean? We're like.
Yeah, I know what you mean now.
Like I said before, we're blessed to do this podcast. I may be repeating myself here, but it is important. So, we go to school, a bed, like Diva comes for our beds. We're blessed enough to have the facilities to do this podcast, like I said.
Yeah.
So I think people just sometimes, like I said before, you just need to step back and just appreciate what you have, and then maybe you might not want more after you.
Yeah.
You appreciate. I look back and I look back and I'll be playing on my PlayStation. I'll be like, oh, I really want this game, and I really want that, and I'll just take a look back and be like, I'll look at my setup and be like, look, that could be better than what most people have. I should be grateful with that and blessed to have that. So I shouldn't want more.
No, I agree with you.
That's how I feel about it. How do you feel? How do you feel about that? That situation.
I feel that by appreciating what you get more, when you when you get something else. No, let me start again. So basically, if you knew what other people didn't have, and what they did, you'd appreciate what you have more. But just by, I think you need to sometimes surround yourself with a bit of minimalism. Like, you got to look at the people that don't have loads instead of looking at the people that do have loads, and instead of saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be that, be thankful. Yeah, that's good, you want to be this, you want to be that, but also be thankful for what you've got. And even if you don't get to exactly where you want to be, or it takes a long time, don't be put down, and don't be like cocky, or like let it get to you when you do get it. Like, still appreciate and help out the people who don't.
I feel it's really important to stress. We're not doing this to say that we're perfect. You know, we all jealous, or we never want that. Me and Cameron we're not saying that just in case people are taking this the wrong way. We are just stressing that it is important that this is what we should be like, or what we can be like, and we're not perfect. We still do it. Me, Cameron, everyone still does it. We're not saying, you know, oh, we're perfect. Look at us. We're trying to do this, and we want to be the start of people doing this.
Yeah.
Because we want to help other people and have an influence on other people. We're still gonna get it wrong sometimes in life, you know, because
that's just how it is.
We're just humans. We make mistakes, but you know, we just want to. Yeah, I know. We want to try, and it sounds really cheesy, and I probably it's 100% like from our hearts and everything. This is, we really believe that it is important that we do show each other care to make everyone feel stronger, because then everyone is as strong as everyone else if everyone just shows each other love, if that makes sense. And this links. What I've just said actually incidentally really links well with this next verse, which is a bit of a longer verse, but it has every reason to be. Okay, it says, standing stronger than ever, and never thinking never because they're better than us and always will be, but they are just human, lying to themselves, believing they are more than anyone before. Everyone is equal, so they fall down, taking a life tumbling to the ground. So that is basically what I was just saying, but would you like to elaborate on that for us? Like, what was going through your mind when you were writing that and everything, and what the point again? And I say this for every verse, but
yeah, thank you, Reuben.
What we're trying to do. Would you please stress the point you were trying to get across in this verse?
Yeah, thank you, Reuben. Once again, so standing stronger than ever and never thinking because they're better than us and always will be. So if you look from just above that, we said about them taking advantage, getting the upper hand. It's basically they're standing stronger than ever and thinking never because they're better than us and always will be. So they're not thinking that about what they're doing, and they're always thinking they're better than us. And they're not thinking, oh, well, I'm never going to be this or nothing. They're just boasting, and they're just trying to get you, and so they can be bigger. Put everyone else down, so they can be the top without putting the effort in. And then I say, they're better than us and always will be, because that's in their minds. That's what they're thinking. But then I put, but they're just human, lying to themselves. Yeah, they're just human. You can't trick yourself into getting the success. We're all human, and we all have boundaries, we have limits. You can't break those limits because it's just literally not possible. And they are more than believing they're more than anyone before. Everyone is equal, so they fall. Yeah, they think they're better than everyone, but they're not. Everyone is equal, but some people just have more. Say me and Reuben, we're equal. One of us may have something more, but we're still equal. Just because someone maybe have more in possession, someone may have more. Say they're more like there's an Xbox, they have PS4, PS5, this, and I only have an Xbox. We're still equal. They just have more to show. It's showing, but the more you prove is within inside you, and they're just thinking they're better than everyone.
I think you explain that really well, actually.
But everyone is equal, so they fall down. Because we're all equal, they just fall back down because they're believing that they're better. But then once one thing shows that they're the same as someone else, they just look at themselves and they just can't take it. And they take a life tumbling to the ground. They fall down. They just fall down because they're just unstable at that point because they can't take in where they've gone from. They can't take it in where they've tried to trick themselves into getting higher. They can't trick themselves no more, and once they realise that that's not the way, and they realise what's right, they just fall down because they realise what they've done is wrong, and then they're just stuck there.
No, I completely agree with that. I think you're completely right for saying that. What is it? Yeah, because like you're saying, it says when they're lying to themselves, maybe we're saying to ourselves, we're better than some. We say to ourselves we're better than them because it makes us feel better, but really we are equal. Do you know what I mean? That's all it is. When we think we're better than ourselves, we're really lying to ourselves because we are equal. That's how I view perspective.
Yeah.
But I feel like, in my opinion, we are sometimes lying to ourselves to make us feel better, if that makes sense. But at the same time, it can make another person feel worse by saying something to make us feel better.
Yeah. You're feeding off their energy. Line,
Wait, no, you carry on, sorry.
That's okay. You're basically feeding off their energy. Where you said, by you getting better, they're getting worse. You're feeding off their pain. Their pain is making you happy. It's feeding you, making you grow, making you bigger. But then they're going to be drained to the point where they can't take it no more, and you're like right at the top. But as soon as they're gone, and there's nothing left of them, you fall right back down because you have nothing to keep you up there. You just fall back down to where everyone else is, and then you've just wasted your time, and you've just done it wrong. Instead of building and taking that time, instead you just fed off of the pain of someone else and lied to yourself.
Yeah. And I think it says in the next line. It says, let me read it so I don't want to get misread your verse. It says, "Nowhere to go, no them. Their life ends because their pain was all over them." So obviously you try to elaborate for everyone in the podcast what you meant by that.
Yeah, I'm going to link that to the next one. So if it's okay if you read that next one out as well with that one.
Yep. So I'll read it all in one, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Nowhere to go, no one to hold them. Their life ends because their pain was all over them. Life isn't about being the best or putting down the rest of those people who cared. It's about helping each other in a life that is not feared.
Yep. So in the first one, nowhere to go, no one told them. Yeah. So once they fell to the ground, they have nowhere to go. Like before, I said nowhere to go when they had you. Now they're on their own. They have nothing. They don't know what to do. They've fallen, and they like I just said, they fed off of someone. Now they have nothing to do and no one to hold them because the life they've chosen. They have no one to hold them, and the people who are around them are practically the same as them because they all live off the same energy. And then it comes to the point where your friend will be feeding off of you, and then that's where they fall out. And it says their life ends because their pain was over them. It could result in their life ending. Maybe it could be physically, which we don't want. No one wants that. And it could metaphorically, like their life, they've just ruined their whole life because their pain was literally because they had pain at the start. They fed off someone else's pain, and it just made them temporarily feel better, they just put on a face in front of everyone else, and then their pain's just all over them, and it was all over them. It said life isn't about being the best or putting down the rest of those people who cared. So you don't have to be the best at this, the best of that. Like, try your best. Yeah, try your best, but you don't have to be the number one. And if you are, don't put down the rest of those people. It's not about, like I said, life isn't about putting down the rest of those people who care. Like, people who care about you. And as soon as you get that success and throw it in their face, then, and like, to say some of your fans, they're just gonna go, and then it'll be the point where you're literally nothing, and people won't like you anymore, and then that can happen because the success gets to you, and then you just don't think about the people and the people who are around you who are there to support you, and then you just fall down and you have nothing, and then your life just breaks down. I say it's about helping each other in a life that's not feared. We've got to help each other, not be scared to ask for help. Like, people these days are so scared to ask for help that they just end up like depressed or upset and loads of other stuff, and that's not good, because we don't want them to be scared to ask for help, or you can interpret that they're living a life that they're feared. They're scared to move on, like us making this podcast. Just because people at school probably will see it and then talk about it, and that doesn't mean we have to stop it. We don't have to get. We may get a bit embarrassed at school, but in the long time thing, we enjoy it now, and we're gonna enjoy it in the future, and we're gonna grow a bit of a fan base, hopefully. But that's one of our goals.
I mean, exactly. That goes back to not necessarily life. What you said, life isn't about being the best. This links with this why we started this podcast. Actually,
yeah,
we're not trying to be the best, but you want to. I think the people get confused between being the best and trying your best.
Yeah.
I think trying the best is more important than being the best. You could be the best, but not try your best. That's not being the best version of yourself. As long as you try your best and the best version of yourself, you can't do anything more than that. Really. Pardon me. Sorry.
That's okay.
You can't be like anything more than that. Do you know what I mean? As long as you try your best. That's what I think people get confused about, being the best and trying the best. But I feel like as well, when it says putting down the rest of the people you care, I feel like when you get to that point, you know, where you feel like you're alone, and then somebody who cares about you comes in, you just push them away because, you know, you don't want to get hurt again. Like, do you get what I'm getting at here? Like, as in,
I understand what you mean.
Like, it's just natural, isn't it? Because it comes back to, as well, to the fear. Like, you're fearful because you do get fearful, and then when you're fearful, like you said in your other verse, you take out on other people. So that's what happens, really. You get scared of getting hurt again, so you take that fear and you use it against the people you care about to shut them out, to make sure that you do not get hurt. And as well, this next line that you said is about helping each other in a life that's not feared. I think that's exactly what we're trying to aim for, is that a life where no one has to fear.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
So then no one has to push each other away.
No. And
I think that's a really, really strong point that people could take away from this, is that that really ultimately is the aim.
Yeah. And if
we want to live a life without fear.
Yeah. And if you as we move on to the next one, you'll see where what we've just said links to. So if you don't mind reading that next one out, that one links very high with what we just explained.
Okay, I'll read that out. Fear lives within us and naturally stay with us. People face them and others get chased by them. Scared and depressed, not laughing or expressed. Our people are the fear shouldn't even be here. Now people disappearing, people get hurt, never being able to see the ones they once nursed. If you, for this one, because it's quite a long way, if you take out, you know, every sort of line, and what that means, then we could go through it as well. A bit easier to understand then.
Yeah, so basically, on that bit, fear lies within us and naturally stays with us. So fear, it's with us. It is with us. It lives with us. It's just part of life. If you didn't have fear, then you wouldn't know what you wouldn't know what confidence was. It's like if you had happiness and you didn't have sadness, you wouldn't know you wouldn't have happiness. Like, you can't always be happy, but you can't always be sad. That's the thing. So like, you can't always be scared, and you can't always be confident. But the fear lies within us. It's with us, and naturally stays off. It is natural. It's going to be there, and you're going to get scared at some things. Some things you think you just think about, and you just get scared. But it's not scared. It's just the fact that you believe it's scared. It's just you need to get over it. And some people need to face them. Say like, it's not. Say like us. We did a podcast in front of loads of people, or when we upload this, it's not fear, it's just nervous how people are going to react, because we judge ourselves so much on how people react and what their opinion is on it, and you just always refer to that.
Well, if this actually, this is like I think it's the third or fourth verse actually in this song, and it links to what you're saying about how we don't want people to judge us.
Yeah.
How we need people who love us to do our best sometimes. And it says, because we are all human, or we need people who won't judge us but will love us.
Yeah.
I know we elaborated on that before, but you know, how do I explain this? So when we don't want to be judged ultimately. No one does, like we said. But you know, and as well, I just want to say, like, fear. If we can't get rid of fear, then I say use fear to drive you on.
Yeah.
If I can't get rid of fear of losing, I'll use the fear of losing to drive me to win. If that makes sense.
So basically, I think what Reuben's trying to say, everyone listening, is that say I'm scared. Say I go to a football match and I'm scared to lose. Say we take our football team. We're not the best. I'm not saying we're the worst. We're a good bunch of people, and we know how to play. We know how to play football. But the fear of losing, it impacts you. But instead of being I'm scared to play because I'm scared that we're gonna lose, be like, I want to win, and I'm scared to lose, so I'm going to win. Don't let it drive you. Don't be like, oh, I'm scared to play because I'm fearing that we're losing. Be like, I'm fearing losing, so I'm going to win.
I think that's a really good point actually you've made there. That actually kind of, thanks for explaining the point actually for me. No, I couldn't really get it across, but you've actually, you've explained that really well for all the viewers to understand, because you do need, fear is sometimes what drives us on as human beings. We don't want to lose so badly, so we put in the work that we won't lose.
Yeah.
Because it is, when we lose, it is embarrassing. That's just natural. We don't want to be embarrassed, but we shouldn't be embarrassed because we shouldn't get abuse and things said to us when we lose. But that again is the reality we live in.
Yeah.
We at the moment we just have to deal with it, and we have to turn things into positives, which is exactly what I'm saying about doing with fear. It is, you have to just try and be positive minded. I know I'm not saying it's easy for anyone to
do,
because it is really hard, but you've got it's this exact thing, you've got to keep trying, keep trying to positive mindset, and it will stick. I promise everyone who's watching this podcast that if you just convince yourself that you just be positive, then honestly you will go so far in life, and you will become an amazing person. promise you.
So if we carry on from where we left off there, is that everything you were saying about that, Reuben?
Well, yeah. Are we gonna carry on with the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
part of the verse, or?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Just want to make sure you were doing
Okay,
that.
so. Yeah, yeah. I'm finished. I'm finishing my rant. So it's fine.
So people face them and others get chased by them. Scared and depressed, not laughing or expressed. We'll do this a little bit here. So, yeah, people face them and others get chased by them. Literally just what we said. People face their fears. So instead of saying, "Oh, I'm scared to play the football match because I'm going to lose, because I'm scared I'm going to lose," say, "I'm scared to lose, so I'm going to win." Face them fears. Face what you're scared of. Maybe it doesn't say literally face to face, but maybe like do something to help you face them. As in, you don't have to face them face to face, like I just said. Work on yourself and work so you don't have to come face to face, but don't run away from them. Don't run away. So like say, "I'm scared to play this match because I'm scared I'm going to lose, so I'm not going to play." That doesn't avoid it. That just you avoid losing by not playing, but then you also avoid life. You can't avoid fear because otherwise you'll avoid life. You've got to go through it, and yeah, if you get scared, you get scared, but you just keep on going. And then it says,
it's where you use, like I was saying before, it's where you use that fear. What you do with that fear is how successful you can be, and what the person you become is not all down to it, but a key part of it is how you use the things you come across in life, and how you face. If you face it or you run.
Yeah. But then
your fears, that's what, or ultimately, that can make you the person you are. Is what we're trying to get at, and we're not. Look, we're only 15, right? So we're not. Like we've still got. We know we've got challenges in our life, but this in this, it actually really, it could help other people our age list. That mindset, preparing for when you're gonna go through more struggles. You can relate back to this. You could listen back to this podcast, even if you even remember this podcast. You could go back and I'm gonna listen.
Yeah.
And that's just. I think that's my mindset really of what I want to be like. I want to, I want to use my fears to drive me to success.
Yeah. And then when it links on to the next bit, scared and depressed, not laughing or expressed. Because, it says people face them and others get chased by them, scared and depressed, not laughing or expressed. Yeah, people are scared and depressed and they're not laughing or expressing their emotions. They're just getting trapped. That's not what we want. And the next bit says, are people with the fear that shouldn't even be here? The reason I moved on, because look, then it's the people. The people are causing us to be scared and depressed, not being able to laugh or show our emotions. The people are the fear that shouldn't be here, because the people are creating the fear. People are saying this, saying that, which boosts your fear, which boosts that, which then drains your ability to drive and thrive. And then, do you want to expand on that, Reuben?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, we do need to use it to, thrive on, like, you see people like, for example, Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Like, he said in an interview before, he said, "I do get scared, but I thrive on it. I thrive on the fear." That is why he is so successful and such this just amazing footballer that everyone looks up to, because he thrives. He thrives on his mistakes. He thrives on his fears, and he thrives on his insecurities. His insecurities, he makes them into his securities. I'm not saying that's easy, but I think a lot of people can take example from people like Ronaldo of how maybe he's not, maybe I'm sure he's a nice guy, but maybe he's not, he's probably got struggles, but we don't know that. But maybe if he did, it doesn't, he still has. I think people can still take example of the fact of how he's so, he's so hardworking, and he thrives on his fears and his mistakes, and he takes it in because he believes in himself as well, which I think is a lot of. You've got to believe in yourself, I feel, as well, to do this.
Oh yeah,
to have that mindset. The key thing is to believe in yourself.
I agree with that a lot, because you just got to go for it. You just got to keep on going. And it says now people will disappear and people get hurt, never being able to see the ones they once know. So what I mean by that is people are disappearing because they're hiding away. They literally not themselves, and they're getting hurt. And you're never being able to see the ones who once nursed, because they've either gone off or they haven't lived their life and now they're gone. You can't see the ones you cared for, the ones you love. Maybe because they've died, unfortunately, or because you don't know them anymore. Maybe not, you can't literally care for them, but you don't know them. They aren't the same person anymore. And then that links back to like the fear. It's all based around fear.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And should we move on to the next verse?
Yeah. Do you want to read that next one out?
Because this, I think, like I said multiple times.
Yeah.
But it's up to you. You can read it out, or I can read it out. Do you want me to read it out?
Yes, please.
Alright. The pain goes on, but lives get shorter because that their mother just died, killed herself after losing her only daughter. Her daughter was bullied for the way she felt. Being a little different made her stand the choices she made. So they targeted her, and then the next day they felt guilty for speaking of her name. She willingly took her life for the unfair sacrifice of those who were playing to a game. I think that's a really, really strong paragraph. That's a really, really strong verse, I feel.
Yeah. What I was trying to get at there was the fact that it's not based on anyone. I'm not saying this hasn't happened, because I don't doubt that it has. But I didn't base it around anyone. I'm saying figuratively, yeah, pain goes on, which means your life gets short, because you're technically not saying, oh yeah, this and that, or you're wasting your time, just get on with it. I'm saying that the time is going, and that it's just not the same, because you're losing people again. You're literally losing people, and you're being a little different. She was a little different, and she stood out. She stood out to the people, and that's just not how it should be. So yeah, just because she's a little different. Just because they're a little different, like people are losing people, and because they're losing people. People say I lost, like Reuben, one of my best mates, like a brother to me. I'd be upset. Then I'd lose myself, because like he's a part of me, this and that. So where it says that mother's just died, killed herself after losing her only daughter, she's killing herself because she lost the one of the things that's most important to her in life. It's just like saying, if you lose that ability to be determined because of fear is here, then it's just replacing it, and things can't be replaced that easily, and especially when it's not the same. You can't replace happiness with sadness, or sadness. You can replace sadness with happiness, but not happiness with sadness. You can physically, like the emotions change, but it just doesn't fit right. And then being a little different for the way she was bullied for that, she felt being a little different made her stand out. If you're different, yeah, you stand out in this world. Like, say me and Reuben at school just did football, just did our work, didn't do anything else, no social media, no this, that. Making this podcast, we are known to the world now, we're known to different people, and people like, yeah, you do this, people can make fun of us maybe, people might not. It doesn't bother us, because it's the fact that being different isn't a bad thing. It makes you stand out, but it's good to stand out, but as long as you do it in the right way. And it says only to the people who can accept others. If people can't accept you, then you're going to stand out to them. Because say I don't accept, that a teacher doesn't accept you doing bad behaviour because you stand out. Everyone else is doing the right thing, you stand out. It's like that. They were unhappy with the choices she made. Because I've made a choice, it doesn't mean that you can make fun of me. I may have made a choice, yeah, wrong. Yeah, okay, maybe, like you're gonna say something about it, but you still shouldn't have a laugh about it. Like if with a person they don't mind it, yeah, but don't let that person feel like they're getting guilt tripped into it, or anything. And so they targeted her, and then the next day they felt guilty of speaking of it. They felt guilty for speaking of her name. So the next day, she's not there because metaphorically she's killed herself because she can't take it anymore. And then they're guilty because they can't even say her name because they're scared because what they have done, they didn't mean for it to happen. They would try and have a joke, but it's gone too far. It has gone too far. And that's what happens with things. And she unwillingly took her life for the unfair sacrifice of those who are playing a game. So, yeah, she took her life, and it's an unfair sacrifice. She sacrificed their happiness. She sacrificed her life for their happiness. That's the one thing you do not do. You can't sacrifice yourself just for someone to be happy. Say, yeah, maybe like, say you're with a friend, and you're going to watch a movie at the cinema and they like this one, you like this one, and yeah, I'll be nice to them and say, oh yeah, we'll watch it, I'll sacrifice watching that with you, yeah, but not, oh yeah, I'm going to sacrifice my whole life just so you can have entertainment out of it. That's not right. That is not right. And it's only a game. If you think life is a game, I don't know what you're going to think about everything, because it's not a game. You can't come back to life. You can't relive your life. Like, say you fail something, yeah, you can do it again and again, but wouldn't you rather just not mess around and do it the first time and get it right? What do you think, Reuben?
And yeah, well, thank you for elaborating on that. But I think as well, like, I agree with what you're saying. Things are, we're not gonna get things right first time. You know, that is the whole point of not giving up, is that we're never gonna get something right first time. And quite frankly, I know it's said a lot, and you probably hear it a lot, and it sounds cliche, but you do learn from your mistakes, because you learn not to do that again. Because if you do that again, you're gonna make another mistake. But because you know that if you do that, then that will lead to that mistake. You don't do it, therefore you have learned from it. But I think it is, again, I think it's all about, you know, mindset. And I think that this whole, when she took her life, because like you said, a joke got way out of hand. And, you know, it is, I've been guilty of this in the past, not making people, you know, be depressed or kill themselves, or nothing like that. But sometimes I take a joke too far, right? Like, yeah, I can do that sometimes, and I think everyone can do that, but I can do that quite a lot. Sometimes sometimes with my friends, but sometimes with my family, I can say a joke and they'll be like, "Oh, Reuben, but can you just stop now?" But I think it was so funny that I won't stop, and I'll carry on to see how funny I can make it. And sometimes it goes too far and it hurts some feelings, and I feel really bad. Yeah. But thinking about it now, it makes me feel, you know, that you know, you just have to take a step back and be like, you know, I've just got to stop because this person obviously isn't feeling great. You know, that's what I said, like, right at the start of the podcast. Somebody's just got to step back and not accept the same point as appreciate it, because you can't appreciate it, obviously. Yeah. But step back and, you know, look at the situation and evaluate, and like, this person is not happy. So yeah, I've got to stop. because really, we don't want to see anyone get hurt deep down. We saw someone we didn't know, and this sounds quite dark, but it is quite true. If we saw someone now we didn't know on the floor and they were in pain and they were dying, we would be upset. We don't know them, but that is a natural instinct of care.
Yeah, that is so true.
That we have because we see someone else in pain. Because I think, you know, and it says in this next verse, this links to this next verse, and I'll read it out now. It says, people who can be positive and block out the hate, but when that one person steps on their tail, sends them insane. And I feel like what you're trying to say there, Cameron, correct me if I'm wrong. One person steps on their tail. That I feel like kind of say when one person just says that one thing too far.
Yeah.
It does kind of trigger something in you, you know, like sometimes you don't mean it, sometimes they know and then they'll say it, they'll do it maliciously. Sometimes, you know, they don't know, and like, so this is also links to not knowing about other people's past.
Yeah.
Like, say, I could make a joke, I would never do this, but say I could make a joke about, say, I don't know, a struggle someone had.
Yeah.
Like I could say, oh yeah, your dad left to go get the milk or something like that. Because people do say that a lot because people find it funny.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know,
it's not funny.
It is funny when it's a joke, but it's not funny if you look back at it. Like I said, you just take a step back and you look at it, because that person, their dad could have actually left them.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like, and I've learned this over the past couple months, and you know, that because sometimes I've said stuff and I'm like, oh, why did I say that? Because looking back, it's just not funny. I was just a bit of a prat, really. But like, those mistakes that you make to not say it again, and you know, sometimes you have to take it. You know, you have to take that you've done something wrong, and you just apologize, and you move on from it, and you do what you should have done before, which is what I said earlier as well, is by loving and caring for that person.
Yeah.
I feel it should be important in most people's lives, is that whoever you come across, you know, you should be kind and caring. I'm not saying you should go like see a random person, they you give them hugs and kisses and stuff.
No.
You just be polite. You know, you just be polite.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You just like you're like, oh, you okay? Is that good? Thanks. Oh, how are things and that. You know, and you know, and this is kind of personal to me. I'm a Christian, and I've grown up in a Christian family. Obviously, I've taken you to church a few times, Cameron. Yeah. And people think, and I just want to get this image out of people's head, because it is quite frustrating that people think that we're all just like all over the top, like, oh, you know, praise the Lord, we're praying every second. We are still, you know, the same people, you know, and most of the people who are Christians that I've met have gone through struggles. They weren't necessarily a good person before, but they've taken that experience and, you know, they've done what I said, they've looked back, and, you know, they've looked at it and they've said, do you know what, that I need to change. I know that I know not everyone's a Christian, and then that's fair enough. I respect that, you know. It's not, I'm not saying, you know, it's easy just to believe.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But they had this belief that, you know,
people can judge too easily.
What, this might be Jesus, like this might be God. And so it sounds like I'm going off on a sermon or something, but I'm not. I'm just saying, like, as in, that's how some people feel.
Yeah.
But they don't, you know, I've kind of gone off on a tangent.
No, that's cool. But
can you repeat the last line to me? I completely forgot I said. I went off on a tangent, and can you remember? Get back on track.
you said you're on a tangent. The last line, leading that person to fail and become stuck in pain. It's like one of the others before, just worded differently. Because things need to be repeated. It just stops them from doing what they want to do. It traps them. It just simply traps them, and then they're stuck in pain, and then that pain can lead to worse things, depression, maybe death, which is not what is the extreme, but it has to be addressed.
Yeah, no, I think that's what I was trying to get at before I went on for on a rant. It is quite personal when you think about some of these stuff. It can be quite personal to you depending on how you take it, and to me it is quite personal to me. It comes from how you feel and and how you see other people react. But I to fail and become stuck in pain. I feel like that's just saying, you're really, you're just pointing yourself. Like, I really want to see if this person will fail, but I don't think sometimes people realise how much pain it causes people.
No, sometimes people don't realise that,
and then they're stuck. They're stuck in pain because no one knows.
Yeah, I get that there, and people just take it too far, and then
do you know what I mean? I think
ends
that's
up in worse things, which we don't want. But if we go on to the
now we're getting on to the last verse of. I think this is the last verse.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Last verse.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, that's the last verse.
It's like, do you want to read it or shall I read it?
You can read it. That's fine.
Alright. We are all human. We should be there together and help one another because we won't be here forever, so don't reject people because we are the people. Make the most of life that doesn't last forever. So what would you say about that, Cameron? What were you, thinking when you wrote that? What's the point you were trying to get across again? Like, as in, to the people reading this?
So, like the other one said, where it said fail, become stuck in pain, and it said something like we're all human after that. Where I said it being, because we're all human, and we all need people who will love us, who won't judge us but will love us. It's like that. We're all human. We should be there together and help one another. Help people be one. Like, not physically, be one person. And trying to be choosing be one who love and this, but be supportive for each other. It says because we won't be here forever. We're not going to be here forever. We can't lie about it. Maybe one day there'll be something like some science bring people back. I don't know, but for now, we've not got forever. We haven't got all the time in the world. So live your life no matter what. This is why we're making this podcast, because we're not going to waste our time. We'll do something we love. And it says, accept, don't reject the people. Yeah, accept them. Accept what people have done. And maybe they really hurt you. But we've got to move on one day. Like, people can change. That's what people are really. People can change. Like, some people have done really bad things and know it's hard. Maybe you don't. I'm not saying you have to forgive them, and literally be like, oh yeah, come on, let's just act like nothing's happened. But don't give them pain. Maybe forgive them as in, okay, I know you've done this, but maybe you can't accept them back into your life. Like, as in, let's just carry on. But don't give them hate. Don't give them hate, but still help them and accept them back slowly. It says, because we are the people. Yeah, we're the people. So if that happened to you, you would want someone to accept you back. Don't think, just because there's someone else there not you, that you're not same. You are. We're equal, but people don't realise that. Make the most of the life that doesn't last forever. Like, that's just saying, make the most of it. Karen Reuben.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was just saying as well, I think that's what we've been saying this whole podcast as well. I think it just sums it up really about, you know, that I said earlier on in the podcast, pretty sure I said that our life isn't it. We haven't got a long life. Do you know what I mean? We don't live forever, like you said there.
Yeah.
In this verse, so you just have to accept that people are different, you know, because that's what they're comfortable with. We're comfortable with different things. That's just how it is. That's just how we are. We have to accept that. Just don't hate it, because hating it's not going to do anything. All it will do is, like what we said, people just take their lives, and you don't want that. Deep down, you know you don't want to be the cause of someone taking their life. No matter if you're not the cause, you don't want that person to take their life.
No.
So, you know, I think, yeah, and that's what I was trying to say as well, when you were saying that people have gone through such bad things, but they've managed to turn it around. I think that's what the point I was trying to get when I was saying about being a Christian and how I've met people who are Christians and how they, you know, you wouldn't, because they've changed so much, you wouldn't expect them to have been through so much, but you hear their stories and you hear their testimonies and stuff, and you know they have been through bad stuff. They're just as bad as any other person, but they've, you know, they've had something happen to them, and sometimes that's what has to happen in life. Something has to, you know, sometimes something has to hit us on the head to make us realise that you're doing it wrong, or you need to do it a different way.
Yeah.
To say, not necessarily doing it wrong, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I get it, and I think what Reuben means by getting hit on the head, not physically, but just that moment of realisation. Just to clear up to some of your fears.
Yeah, no, I think that's the perfect. Yeah, I think that's the perfect way to put it. Actually, a moment of realization of, you know, what you've done. But you need, like I said, the metaphorical hit on the head. Sometimes you do need something to happen for you to realize. And there are some examples that I know of, but I won't go into them because they are people's personal stories, and I don't want to go into them without their permission and everything. But, you know, maybe if I, you know, get their permission, we could get them on the podcast, you know, to talk about it. And then we could do like a part, because we have been on, I think, for over an hour now on this podcast. So we could even do a part 2 and ask, you know, people to come on and talk about it.
What you guys feel and everything. But overall, I think...
Yeah, right. Put in the comment section how you feel about that, and if you want other people to come on to talk about it, or if you know, we can mix up. Some weeks we have something, you know, talk about something deep like this, you know, something deep and meaningful, and then other weeks we can talk about something like football or funny news or fake news or what.
Even if you want
funny fake news we've seen.
Yeah, even if you want it like anonymously, or you just want us to say something, just if you know us, like you could just message us, talk to us in person, even like if you know us or what, you know what I mean. Or if you're like a fan or someone, comment section or our Instagrams. I'll link our Instagrams into the description, obviously, and I'll add the podcast one, and all of that. It'll be anonymous. If you feel like doing it more to the podcast one rather than our personal ones, that's fine.
Well, should we? Well, that is the end of Judgment, and I mean, you know, congratulations on writing it and it being on Spotify and everything. That is, you know, that is pretty amazing, especially for someone of your age as well. That is, you know, that is quite an achievement. I know it is. You are getting it on Spotify, which is good and everything. I hope you can, you know, just start. You know, we can grow, and maybe through this podcast we can, you know, spread your music. But this, I think I just want to say congratulations. I think you've done really well.
Thank
you know, addressing the problems and really explaining it so people can understand. I think, you know, I think this is what today's podcast was about, was, you know, addressing that. Don't worry, it's not going to be all deep and meaningful every week, but no. this we had to do this, I feel, because this is very,
These are
very
good things,
important.
yeah. But I want to give a...
Don't you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I really agree with that. Like, we will have like things, and this isn't a bad thing. This is got happiness in it. It's just saying what us as people need to know, and to help people. But I want to give a big mention to @t.noir. Follow on,
and need to do as well.
But yeah, I wanted to mention T.Noir. If you like, he's got his another song, because he got the beat and he helped me find it, and he is including it in this song. So I just want you guys to show us some love, and obviously show us some love, guys. This is a thing we're going to be doing every week. I'm not saying you have to tune every week, you have to like, you have to this, but we're gonna do this. We're gonna carry on, because we do want to make this podcast, and we do want to make it good. And I'm just gonna get Reuben back, so then we can play. I'll play the song so you guys can actually hear it, rather than us going through it slowly. I know it's on my channel, but maybe you guys just want to listen to it on here instead of having to click off of it and then go back on to see the rest of it. Yeah, guys. So we're that's it from us today's podcast. Stay tuned, subscribe, and click the notification bell for more videos, because there will be more every Wednesday.
And don't forget to take care, stay safe, and that's all from us. We'll see you next Wednesday. We're going to leave you now with Cameron and T.Noir's song, Judgment.
All this feeling and emotion, causing the commotion in the way you're getting played every day. We've got to help ourselves, not drown ourselves. We've got to make ourselves, not drown ourselves. Don't blame to hate to blame. Deep down we're all the same, just different names. We should respect what people have to say, not dictate. Cause we're all human, and we all need people who won't judge us but will love us. Don't hate on others because you ain't brothers, or hurting them just because you don't know them. Cause we're all on this earth to live, not to hurt, but instead we've got to be strong and stay alert.
As the people you hate don't give a crap. All they want to do is set you a trap, and you fall for this trap, staying hurt and possessed, and you're crying in a corner all upset and in a mess. Nowhere to go, not one day or two, without the shame and the blame that they do. They fill us with doubt and kill off our success due to the pain that they feel too. But they're smaller than you, but bigger too. So what can I do except nothing? But that's the feeling of fear that we all have. But then the bigger people take the advantage to get that upper hand, standing stronger than ever, thinking never, because they're better than us and always will be. But they're human, lying to themselves and believing they are more than anyone before, but everyone's equal, so they fall down, taking a life, tumbling to the ground.
Nowhere to go, no one to hold them. Their life ends because their pain was all over them. Life isn't about being the best or putting down the rest of those people who cared. It's about helping each other in a life that's not feared. Fear lies within us and naturally stays with us. People face them and others get chased by them. Scared and depressed, not laughing or expressed, are people that fear, that shouldn't even be here. Now people disappear and people get hurt, never being able to see the ones they once nursed. The pain goes on but lives get shorter, because that mother that just died killed herself after losing her only daughter. Her daughter was bullied for the way that she felt, being a little different made her stand out. Only to the people who couldn't accept others, they were unhappy with the choices she made. So they targeted her, and then the next day they felt guilty of speaking her name. She unwillingly took her life for the unfair sacrifice of those who were playing the game. People can be positive and block out the hate, but when that one person steps on their tail, it sends them insane, leading that person to fail and become stuck in pain. We're all human, we should be there together and help one another, because we won't be here forever, so accept and reject the people, because we are the people, make the most of the life that doesn't last forever.